So now we're going to move on to something quite different. This is the business information pack, and it is not the same as the party folder. Completely different. Now, although I'm saying completely different, actually we're going to use quite a bit of the same information that we put in the party folder for this. So there is a bit of a double up. Some of the pages in here will be the same as what's in the party folder. Now, one of the reasons that we double up is it makes the business more simple. If every time somebody saw information about the business and it was laid out differently and it gave different information, or even if it gave the same information in a different way, it would actually feel like there's so much to this business that it's quite daunting. I think that often we feel like we want to make it more complicated than it is, and we don't need to. It needs to be really simple. Once people have seen the same thing in different places a few times, they're going to start feeling familiar with it, and they're going to start understanding it and just feeling like they know it. They get this real feeling of familiarity. So don't feel that because we're now making a business pack that the information in here has to look different to what they've just seen in the party folder. The business pack is just meant for them to take home. So the party folder is one of the things that will help get them interested. We've got other tools available to us as well. Remember the questions that we had from last session, and we start a conversation and that leads to them taking a business pack home. That's one way. Another way is for them to look in the party folder, and then just you can chat to them and they'll take a business pack home. So this is to go home with them. So in the last session that we have, which will be our 5th session, the one after next, we're going to talk about the folder that you use when you're interviewing, when you're actually talking to people about joining the business. And in this folder, we're actually going to have some of these pages in there again, and it'll be the 3rd time that these people see exactly the same page. Now, if you've read anything at all about advertising and marketing, then you'll know that people actually need to see the same thing several times before it actually sinks in for them. So the business information pack, it needs to look attractive, and it needs to be something that you are going to have in clear view throughout the entire party. It'll be just off to the side of your display. Don't have it right in the middle dominating everything. It's off to the side. Anyone that's got their little antenna out will notice it, and it doesn't have to be elaborate. So mine was very simple. I used a large envelope and I printed out a page with a sunflower on it, and I put the extremely imaginative words business information pack on it, but that was because it must be very clear what this thing is. So if someone's sitting throughout the party and through their head they're going, oh, I wonder if she's looking for any consultants, or I wonder if I could do this, or I wonder if they've got any openings. You know, at least from the very beginning, before you've even opened your mouth, as soon as they see your display, they know there's a business that they could consider. So it's sitting there. Now, in my team, I had some consultants who really struggled to be able to talk about the business, and that's a very common thing. It's one of those things that people need to do a big swallow before they can talk about the business, or a lot of people. And although it's in no way ideal that these people say nothing about the business throughout their party, every now and again, just having the pack there meant that a guest would ask to take one home. And so for my consultants who were too terrified to say a word about the business, it just couldn't contemplate even talking about it, at least if they put the business information packs there, they still had a chance. And they did recruit occasionally, obviously not nearly as much as they could have, but it at least gave them a little boost. So you're sending out some advertising just by having the pack there. So let's talk about what we're going to put in it. And it was always important to me what order people saw things in, and I really wanted to try and have some influence over what they saw when. And so they would open the envelope, and the first thing that they would see is some visual information. And this is going to be exactly the same page that was in the party folder, that one that had the pictures of the picture of the dinner set and the jewellery and the handbag and the champagne lunch. So that page, you can scan it in and print it out, and that's the first thing they see, and that's got to be enticing. because this is all stuff that wouldn't have happened without the business. So that's the first thing. Now the next thing is definitely not compulsory. It's only a suggestion, but I think it really helps. If there is something that is in the business pack, the business information pack, that needs to be returned to you, it means that you're able to say to the person that takes it that you'll be in touch in a couple of days to get it back. So otherwise you run the risk of simply handing business information packs out left, right and centre to people that you're never going to hear from again. So I would rather hand out fewer packs, knowing that I'm going to get them back. I'm going to actually have contact with that person. The person's also going to think quite carefully about taking it if she knows she's going to have to talk to me again. I'd rather do that than hand out hundreds of them, never to hear from any of those people again. So something that needs to be returned. It could be a DVD. If your catalogue is very substantial, it could be one of those. Some company magazines. If you've ever featured in a picture, you've got your picture in the magazine, then that's a good one to put in, and it's very easy to ask for back because you probably can't get hundreds of those on tap. So the other benefit to telling her that you need to get it back within a couple of days is that it also means she's definitely going to read through the pack and have a look at it because she's only got it for a couple of days. Now if when you call to make an appointment to get it back from her and she keeps asking for more time because she hasn't had a chance to look at it, that's going to give you an indication about actually how interested she really is. So everything's just information. There's no bad. You know, if she is really keen to talk to you and can't wait to talk to you, great. If she keeps putting you off all the time, then that's just information. So it's nothing to get annoyed or frustrated about. It's just good information. And at the last resort, just say, look, could you just put it in your mailbox and I'll just pick it up when I'm passing. If you can't think of anything, then to see if you can create something. So I know that some people in the past have used a photo album with actual real photos in it, just with a small photo album, but real photos, so they look like they really need to be returned rather than just scanned pictures. So it's something to think about anyway. Okay, then the next thing is the sheet that you had from earlier on. This is the What is Your Reality sheet. It's the one that's in the party folder. That we had on a different coloured piece of paper. And this is the one that lets them know a little bit about how much money they could earn if they join. So once again, they've already seen this. This is familiar to them and they're just going to take it home to have a look at. It's good then to add in a little bit more information about the money that they could earn, but not too much. If you tell them too much, they're going to make a decision based on what you've told them. The whole point of this business pack is to get them interested enough that they want to talk to you and they want to find out more. So when you make the sheet up, think about the fact that someone could come home from a party all excited and tell their husband all about it, that this is this awesome thing that they could do and they really think they could do it. He then asks for more information, which is normally revolving around the money, and they can't remember. They had a couple of wines and they can't really remember how it worked. Or even worse, they could have a little bit of an idea and actually get it completely wrong. So he then becomes the block that stops them from finding out more about it. So when you make this sheet up, think about aiming it at what the husbands would want to know, because hopefully they're going to have a chance to have a read of it and it will answer some of their questions. If your company is offering any joining benefits at the moment, then you could put in a little sheet about that. And I had a little sheet made up. I'll show you an example of one. It's pretty basic, and I've completely made this up. So you could have a joining offer, some sort of a joining offer. So maybe it's a basic kit. In January, it's $99, and it's normally $2.99 or something. Maybe there's some offer on the kit. There could be some sort of an incentive. Now, then I would list actually what their benefits are in the first 6 weeks. So the kit value is worth however much it's worth. Maybe there's a joining gift. You could choose to give them a joining gift as well, something for their kit. So in this example, it's worth $80. Then there could be some incentive from the company. It could be anything, and I've just made this one up. For every order of 500 placed in January, choose a product. So that's worth $40. maybe the company or maybe you are going to give them a free product voucher for doing 6 parties within 6 weeks. That's $100. And then of course if they do 6 parties in 6 weeks, they will earn the income. So base this on an average party. So that's all of their benefits. And if they do this in 6 weeks, they will have a total product or income of $1,400. So there's no risk to join. It's just a great opportunity. So for the price of $99, which they could actually get back anyway, in 6 weeks they could have this much benefit. So that was a good little sheet. And of course everyone's in different companies and everyone has different joining offers. You may not have any joining offers, but you might be able to create something that you can afford to do. But what this also does is it gets into the mindset of the person that could end up joining that I have to do 6 parties in 6 weeks. And your company may insist that they do a certain number of parties in a certain amount of time, or it may not. So especially if it doesn't, this is a good a way to keep people on track when they haven't got a particular goal in mind. Okay, so that's the business information pack content so far. After the joining benefits, next thing is needing to let them know about what to do next and how to get started. So make sure you don't go into all the nuts and bolts about the rules and what they have to do or when they have to do it by. That's not appropriate for just now. Now, everything in this pack is actually very, very simple, and it's only meant to be something that whets their appetite and gets them excited. If you then put in this pack, well, you have to do this, and if you don't do this by this amount of time, then something bad will happen, or whatever. These are all the rules. It's off-putting. Just make sure you keep everything in this pack upbeat and easy. It's very simple. And when you get to talk to them, if you need to explain anything further, you do it then. But you do it when you can control how that information is given. The next thing is probably the most important thing in the entire whole pack, and it's the question sheet. So this is just a piece of paper, blank, with lines on it, and at the top of the sheet it'll say something like, as you read through the information in this business pack, you'll probably find that questions pop up for you. Make sure you jot them down here as you go, and then when we next chat, I'll make sure you get them all answered. Now that's actually going to be in your handout. But what it means is that she's going to have a really interesting mindset. While she's going through all of the information, she'll be actually thinking about what are her questions. She's also going to be able to put down the questions that her husband wants to ask. So your next time you chat with her, it's not going to be about you trying to sign her up. It's really just going to be about you answering all her questions. It's softer. It's not pushy or scary, and you come across as helpful. Now what happens is that if you manage to answer all her questions and she's happy with the answers, that's probably all she needs to know in order to decide to get started. It saves us from having to go into information overload and tell her every single thing we could possibly ever think about the business. Really, if those are her questions, if she gets her questions answered, she's probably going to be more than likely willing to join if she's happy with the answers. So that question sheet saved me a huge amount of time and made talking to people about the business a lot easier. Now, of course, you're going to need some official literature in there as well from the company. Just make sure you don't overload it or make it too overwhelming. If your company already puts out some sort of business pack, I'd still encourage you to try and personalize it a little. You know, people are joining you, the person. They want to feel that they're joining you, not that they're joining a company. Of course, they are joining the company, but it's more important that they feel that they're joining you. And that you've put this stuff together for them. It's quite different to simply a consultant getting the official stuff from the company and passing it on. That doesn't feel personal at all. So personalize it as much as you can.